In 1981, Paris was the setting for a crime so disturbing it shook the world. A young Dutch woman named Renée Hartevelt was walking through the city, a stranger to danger, when she encountered a man who would forever haunt criminal history. That man was Issei Sagawa. Yet behind the polite manners and refined appearance lurked a darkness most could scarcely imagine. From an early age, Sagawa admitted to harboring disturbing desires, fantasies that crossed the line of morality, reason, and law. These were not fleeting thoughts. They grew. They consumed him. And by the time he arrived in Paris to study literature, they had become deadly obsessions. On a summer evening, Sagawa invited Renée Hartevelt to his apartment under the pretense of friendship and conversation. What followed was horrific. He murdered her, then committed acts of necrophilia and cannibalism. He tried to dispose of her body in a public park, but French police arrested him before he could complete his gruesome plan. The crime itself was shocking. Even among seasoned investigators, it stood out for its calculated brutality. Sagawa described it matter-of-factly, with chilling detachment, hinting at a mind that was both cold and controlled. After his arrest, French authorities assessed him for trial. Experts declared Sagawa legally insane, unfit to stand trial, and he was confined to a French mental institution. Yet justice, as the world expects it, would not come in the form most people imagined. In 1984, Sagawa was deported to Japan. Japanese authorities evaluated him and deemed him sane, a legal technicality that would allow him to walk free. Despite confessing to the murder and detailing his crime in chilling detail, Sagawa was never imprisoned in Japan. He spent the rest of his life in relative freedom, a man infamous worldwide, yet legally untouchable. He wrote books about the crime, gave interviews, and even became a minor celebrity. In a macabre twist of fate, notoriety replaced punishment. The case of Issei Sagawa forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about human nature, justice, and the failings of legal systems. How could someone commit such an extreme crime and face so little consequence? How did a wealthy, intelligent man harbor desires so horrific, and why did the law fail to contain him? Beyond the crime itself, Sagawa's story is a reflection of society, psychology, and the media. In Japan and even abroad, fascination with his case grew into something almost surreal. News articles sensationalized his actions. His image became twisted into a symbol of fear and morbidity, rather than a cautionary tale of human darkness. But the question that lingers decades later is not how we became fascinated, but how justice was denied. Victims deserve closure. Families deserve accountability. And yet, Sagawa walked free, a chilling reminder that the law does not always align with morality. In the years following the crime, Sagawa remained an enigma. He was a frequent guest in documentaries, sometimes smiling for the camera, discussing the crime with detachment that made viewers uneasy. He became, in a dark way, a figure of cultural infamy. His death on November 24, 2022, at the age of 73, closed the chapter of his life. But it did not close the questions his crime left behind. How could someone take a life in such a horrific way, and then live decades unpunished? How do we understand the mind of a person capable of murder and cannibalism, yet able to navigate society freely? The story of Issei Sagawa is more than a tale of murder. It is a warning. A story about obsession, human darkness, and the blind spots of justice. It reminds us that intelligence and privilege do not equate to morality, and that in some cases, the systems designed to protect society can fail catastrophically. It is a story that chills the imagination, but also challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths about humanity. Evil can hide behind a polite smile. Justice can fail even when the truth is known. And some of the most notorious crimes are not only acts of violence, they are reflections of the society that allows them to exist. Issei Sagawa's life and crime remain infamous not simply because of the horror he inflicted, but because the world struggled to respond appropriately. He will forever be remembered. A cautionary tale of a man whose darkness was as calculated as it was grotesque, and whose freedom remains one of history's most shocking injustices. Even today, decades later, the story lingers. It reminds us that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, and justice is not always guaranteed. The world may never fully understand Sagawa, but we cannot forget the victim, the crime, and the chilling lesson it left behind. Because in the end, this is more than a story of horror. It is a story of consequence, or the lack of it. And the question that remains is simple, yet haunting. How could one man take a life so completely and yet live free?